Guten Morgen, ich bin's.
Here's the thing about goodbyes. They're never easy. Even when you want them to happen, even though I want to say goodbye to Ishmael Siv in some sort of way, it's not easy. I've been making a lot of things that people probably won't see, and it's really rewarding. Being seen for such a long time ended up mattering more than my art, which was horrible. This grounding is everything I needed. The plan is to use this year to do things for me. I've lived a life of putting everyone else first, and I think the least I can give myself is a year of centering my wants and needs.
Well, actually probably a lie. There is a lot here. But none of the things I wish they would be here.
Running down in his underwear.
When you write an exam at 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes you gotta do some shit.
Sometimes you gotta do some shit.
You gotta do some shit.
Say hi to yourself.
Hi. Yes, Echo. What's up? Can I meet you? Plans?
It's been Siv Greyson, do your thing. Skrr. Your name.
It's a video of you just like being awkward. Wow. Yes.
Yazi bekumnandi. Kodwa bekukho into engekhoyo. Ndazama uyikhangela yonke indawo. Ndade ndayifumana kwikhamera yefilm. Yeah, okay, stop doing it. Well done.
Okay.
That was good. How did you do that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Did you press record?
No, I pressed record. Okay. Do you compare yourself to other artists when you work?
Yes and no. Because I'm like, should I draw more like this or should I draw more like this? Because like I take my influences very from other artists and I move around like that. Yeah.
So, because I pretty much do the same, but I realize that even in my drawing inspiration from other artists, there is a point where I get like a bit like, oh, why can't I make things like that? And I push myself. I look at like artists who've made it, like people who are really killing it on YouTube or in poetry, whatever I'm doing, photography, and I compare myself to them in a way. I'm like, why can't you be more like that? Like my pictures have to be like that. Not realizing that people have worked for like years.
Yeah, they've done all the thinking behind it and they have their own ethoses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what stopped me from putting stuff on YouTube for like a really long time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was that I just didn't feel my stuff was good enough. Or that people
But
were
why?
expecting. I don't know. I watch like a lot of like amazing people, and some of their videos are really simple, but in my head I've just inflated them so much that I feel like I could never live up to what people expect of me or what people usually watch on YouTube.
I get that. So then you just stop and like it becomes this whole thing.
Yeah, I stopped. Yeah, I stopped sharing, and then, well, here we are trying to get back into it. Have you ever been stopped by
No.
other people?
No, what usually stops me is the time frame. Because my things are not always on a online platform.
Yeah.
I have the space to just wriggle around and do the things that I want to do. But often what stops me is the time, and usually the things that I produce are like received positively.
Yeah.
Because the world perceives that I have this ability and I can do it, and that's nice and all, but like I wish sometimes that I could draw like some of the best representational artists that I see in Instagram and produce good works. Well, good works. That receives the attention of the world, and but I'm almost glad that I do not have this big platform, because it gives me freedom.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that's one of the reasons as well why I left YouTube, because I felt like that I had so many people looking at what's gonna happen next. Even when I made that RIP Siv video, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna like do amazing things.
Yeah.
And then every time I tried to come back, I was like, oh my god, people are gonna be like, why did you even leave? Like, you haven't even changed that much. Like, you should have just stayed on YouTube.
Oh gosh.
So
I see that. Like it's difficult on being exposed to the public. And
it is, especially
scary.
Yeah, it is scary. It is quite terrifying. Is there anything you
but
want to...
some people map through it with ease and they negotiate and they do the things with ease, and I'm like, wow.
I think it looks easy. I don't know if it is easy though.
Or maybe someone has just been bred in that. Like, I think maybe like Beyonce's daughter's gonna just be like moving through the social
Just
space loop.
There's so many things though that determine, like, wow, I was actually like thinking about this the other day, and people are always like on YouTube saying all you have to do to be successful is like believe in yourself and like know the right people.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like,
But
the way
definitely-
you're socialized affects how people perceive you on YouTube. Like, if I talk about myself and my identity, it is not quite received the same as yours.
Yeah.
And people only expect certain type of content from me, and it's not as easy. And I think people forget that.
Yeah, definitely. There's this mass like amnesia about like how social spaces are different, and like
Right.
how bringing up sort of informs the way you sort of live your life.
Exactly, and location as well. And people always say like it doesn't matter like what tech you have, just as long as you work at it. I'm like, yo, people judge your sound. They like judge your visuals. Like, don't be fronting. Don't be fronting. I feel like this was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
Peace out.
I shouldn't have quit YouTube. I miss it a lot. I just don't know how to make stuff anymore. And like all the stuff I make is like for my anthropology essays, and no one's gonna give a shit about that. I only think my lecturers and tutors watch it because they have to. I wonder if I'll ever make a good film.
Fucking still, like it's
ever.
like it's
I
not
wonder if I'll ever
moving,
make
and
anything
film
good
photography is so
ever
expensive.
again.
And
I'm tired
I
of
paid all this
looking
money
for
for all these film programs, editors, and these expensive cameras, and I'm not unable to pick up a camera and make anything because I'm so fucking insecure.
So tired. I don't understand why I pay so much money.
Like maybe I should just stop.
I can't fucking do anything.
Maybe I should just stop.
Maybe everything should just stop.
Oh, not doing. I can't. I don't. I want to make. Can't.
So I've spent the past few days trying to make a film about how why I stopped YouTubing. And the majority of that film was going to be about my struggles, how I struggled with time, how I struggled to bring my new favorite things in the world that came from my university experience in anthropology into my filmmaking, and how I struggled with the anxiety of sharing such a massive part of my life with the world. So I tried to make a film about why I quit YouTube. And that film was going to follow my struggles in creating things to share them on this platform. It was going to follow how I struggled with finding time. It was going to speak to the complexity of trying to bring the stuff that I'm learning in university with my filmmaking in a way that still made sense to someone who doesn't have a university degree. And it was going to touch on the anxieties that I managed to build around the idea of sharing such massive parts of my life and myself with the whole entire world. But then I struggled to make that film, which can only make sense considering the film was going to be about struggling to make films. And I think the reason why I thought I could make the film is because I assumed that things had changed since the last time I made a YouTube video. But somehow things have gotten worse. My process used to be thinking, making, and then sharing. Thinking, making, sharing, thinking, making, sharing, thinking, making. But then I stopped sharing. So then it was thinking, making, thinking, making, thinking, making. Or if I'm going to be a little bit more accurate, it was a lot slower. More like thinking, making, thinking, making.
And then I stopped making. And now today, I just think and think and think and think and think until it feels like I can't stop, like I'm rolling down a hill. I'm thinking myself into sort of a spiral. It's like a black hole of thinking. And I realized that there's no ways that I would be able to make something if I didn't stop thinking. Thinking is good. Thinking informs making. It informs practice methodology. It informs a process. Thinking is a huge part of the wiring of the way that I just do things. Thinking is good, but just thinking and not doing anything with that thinking, not putting it out there, not conversing that thinking, not generating that thinking into something that's movable, keeping it all inside of your head, I don't think that's healthy. So for this film, I decided to pick up my camera and focus on making and sharing, because I'm gonna have to get back into think, make, share, think, make, share if I want this to work out. And I really want this to work out because there's some amazing things that I'm thinking about, that I want to make about, and that I want to share with you. So bear with me, because I think this is going to be a wild ride.
Inspiration is not a one-way street. It's not even a four-way stop. It's more like a New York highway superimposed on the road map of Mtata, drawn over by the roads less traveled and circled by ant marches and zebra crossings. Inspiration looks like wide eyes, sounds like your heart thumping in your ears, smells like fresh earth on a rainy day, tastes like blood and sweat, and feels a little like this. Inspiration does not spark a fire. It is the fire that burns inside each of us constantly. Inspiration gets us up in the morning. It cooks our food, it creates our jobs, it raises our children, it discovers newness and oldness, and it rediscovers itself in us every time we open ourselves up to the world. Inspiration is hidden, broken, by structural inequality, by rules and regulations, by a fantasy of safety or democracy or whatever imaginary you fancy. But no matter how much inspiration is sold, stolen, or suffocated, it will never die. It will never die. Because inspiration is you. Inspiration is I. Inspiration is the other, and inspiration is us.
Sit with me, my love. Don't you ever be too far. I'm getting cold. Sing it to the end. I've got you, my dearest friend, and let's get old. Did you ever notice that my heart's with you? Did you ever notice that my heart's with you?